Hello students, welcome to Recitals in Depth. Herein we will cover the international relations December 2024 current affairs topics in detail. The broader themes which we are going to cover are as follows: geopolitics and democracy, global cybersecurity, neighborhood related issues, domestic laws and their impact on global community, diaspora and its role, trade related issues, bilateral relations with important nations. United Kingdom's assisted dying bill. Now, there is an important question that every nation has to face. The question is whether there is right to life and also if there is right to die with dignity. Okay, so there is some important question that United Kingdom is presently facing, and it is addressing it through a bill. And that bill is called the United Kingdom's Assisted Dying Bill, right? What it does is it creates two different school of thoughts. The first school of thoughts is with respect to which is in favor of the Assisted Dying Bill. Okay, it says that people suffer from horrible diseases and that can lead to painful deaths. Okay, and because we do not have end of life medications, therefore they should be allowed to die with dignity, right? While the other school of thought says that even though we do not have such kind of provisions, there might be something unpredictable that may come up, right? And it might cure the patient altogether. So who are we to say that this person should die at this point of time, or that we should assist a person in dying? Rather, we should focus more on the cure so that that person is alive and healthy for the next 10, 20 more years, right? So this is the debate. Let us see what is the features of this bill. Now, to start any debate, we need to completely have a control over the contours of the debate. Okay, we have to set the definitions right. So first, let us see what has happened. Firstly, this is a bill that was introduced in the House of Commons of the Parliament of the United Kingdom. Okay, so this introduction of the bill has received support from House of Commons, after which it goes through the legislative procedure of first and second reading, post which the public committee stage comes. Okay, there is a committee stage. Public Bill Committee will scrutinize this bill for any further kind of details or will propose any kind of amendments that are required in the present bill, right? After this, these amendments are voted upon again, where? In the House of Commons, right? After this process, there is a third reading in House of Commons only. Okay. Now from this position, it passes on to House of Lords, wherein it goes through the same procedure of 3 readings. Okay. And after these readings are done, it will receive a royal assent so that the bill becomes an act altogether, right? So this is the process in which an ordinary bill will become an act, right? So this bill is at this stage, okay, presently. And what this bill is called, it is for the terminally ill. And assisted dying meaning that it wants to provide assistance to the people who are suffering, okay, who do not have much of life available, like which is available with respect to the present medical interventions, okay. It wants to provide assistance so that they can die with dignity if they opt to, right? They should be allowed to choose their own death if they are in a considerable amount of pain and this kind of a condition is just not going away, right? So what about the support? How much support has it received? So you can see from this graph, 330 people have voted in favor of this bill, okay, and against 275, while 38 people have abstained from voting for this bill, right? So this is the kind of support that this bill is getting in the parliament, right? Now, since we are talking about the contours of debate, let us also be very clear with the definitions of the various kind of terms that are going to be used. First is assisted dying. What do you mean by assisted dying? It means that the patient is terminally ill. Okay? Along with this, there has to be a lethal drug that is going to cause death. Lethal drug that is given by the medical practitioner. Okay, he just provides it, but the administration, that is the taking of the physical act of taking that medication, is by the patient themselves. That means it is self-administered, right? This is called assisted dying, right? It is clear from the word assisted what is being assisted here. This is the drug is being assisted, and the viewpoints of the medical practitioner is also being considered when we are talking about assisted dying. Now, what is assisted suicide? What do you mean by assisted suicide? Suicide is something that a person who might be terminally ill, or he may not be terminally ill. Okay? It does not matter about what kind of illness he has, but he goes forward and intentionally takes his life. And in this process, he is being helped by someone else also who is intentionally aware of the situation. Okay, it is not as if the person who is assisting the person to commit suicide is not aware of his intentions. Okay, so either that person is assisting by providing lethal drugs again, or helping the person who wants to commit suicide to a jurisdiction where he can travel and die, right? So traveling to a jurisdiction. Why should one travel? Because in some jurisdictions something might be punishable, right? And something might not be punishable also with respect to the suicide case. Now, with respect to euthanasia, what do you mean by euthanasia? Euthanasia again is for people who may or may not be terminally ill. Okay? And in this case, in euthanasia, again there is administration of lethal drugs. Okay? The purpose of taking the life is just to alleviate the suffering that a person has. Okay? That is the reason. To alleviate suffering. Okay? And in this case, the lethal drug is administered by the medical practitioner themselves. Okay? So these are the definitions, and now we are ready with the contours of the debate. Let us move towards what the debate is. Okay? So there are arguments with respect to this assisted dying bill in UK, and there are some portions, some people who would favor the assisted dying bill. So what do they say? They say that there must be control and dignity. Okay? Control and dignity over one's own life. Okay? I should have control over my own life, and I should also be able to control my own death. Right? It means that I should be able to die with dignity also. If I am found in a kind of a disease from which I am not able to recover, and it so happens that there is no other choice also, my condition is also worsening, then I should have the right to die with dignity. Okay? The second is end of life choices. Okay? This group also says that when you do not have any kind of medical interventions for me. Okay, I am terminally ill, and you do not have any kind of medical provisions for me so that I can cure myself, I can alleviate myself of this physical suffering. Then why don't you give me the choice of dying? Okay, why should that not be legalized? Okay, so there are no choices available for me in terms of the medical interventions, and therefore I should have this option to exercise as well, right? So this is what the favor of assisted dying is. The third thing is impulsive suicides. Okay, so this school of thought also says that if you do not legalize assisted dying, then people are more probably going towards this impulsive suicides, right? They will not find a way out. Okay, they will not find a way out to express themselves, and this is a more harmful phenomenon to the society, right? So these are the points which are in favor of the assisted dying debate. Now, what are the points against assisted dying? The first is that the control and dignity part, as they said, there is right to life. This school of thought says that there should be right to life, and we should be focusing on cures. Focus on cure and keeping the patient alive. Okay, we should not give up just because we have hit the end of the line for medical interventions. We should go forward and find out multiple ways. Maybe if someone is given a term of just 6 more months to live, maybe there might be some medical interventions, maybe there is some recovery due to which that person may have hope to live. But if we take a decision that they are going to be dying with some kind of assistance, then this would be taking their right to life away. Okay, so we should focus on cure and keeping the patient alive. The second thing is, they say there might be potential of coercion. Okay, many times there are vulnerable populations like senior citizens or persons with disabilities. Okay, there might be a precedence that might set in the society that these people who are dependent on the nation or their families, they might be seen as a burden, as an unnecessary burden, when there is assisted dying available as a choice for them, right? So there might be some elements, some negative elements that might coerce such kind of populations into opting for assisted dying, right? Thirdly, the vulnerable populations, they themselves would feel this kind of a pressure from the society. Okay, this group also says that whatever safeguards you make, you might be stringent with the safeguards at present, but they are ultimately going to be expanded and liberalized in the coming future. Okay, so this is a slippery slope that you are setting your foot in. So we must be warned that this first step will not end there. It is going to continue, and we may be facing an all-out assisted dying for all kinds of groups, all kinds of peoples, and for various other reasons also, right? So this is the kind of debate that we are having with respect to the two schools of thought. Now, what is the current UK law on this issue? Okay, before this bill, what is the current UK law? With respect to assisted dying, it is prohibited. Okay, it is completely prohibited in UK. With respect to euthanasia, it is again prohibited. Right? Assisted suicide. Assisted suicide is a punishable offense. And this carries a term of 14 years of imprisonment. Okay? That is, if you assist someone to commit suicide, then it is a punishable offense. Okay, historically, so since this assisted dying debate has not been the thing of present, it has been there in the past also. Since 2013, this debate has been there, and there has been 3 bills that have been there for assisted dying. Okay, just to legalize it. And now is the time that UK is finally going to convert it into a law. Now let us see what is the procedure provided in the bill. Okay, first of all, what is the eligibility criteria? Does it include some people? Does it exclude some people? Yes. So with respect to first, age and residency. Okay, minors are not extended this kind of a provision. This means that there is a criteria of age, that a person who is opting for this choice must be upwards of 18 years of age. This is the first provision. Okay, with respect to residency, he or she should be a resident of England or Wales in the last 12 months. Okay, there is also a condition of being in the right mind. Okay, that is, the person should be capable of making this decision. He should make a clear, settled, informed decision. Now this decision cannot be maligned, right? This cannot be influenced by any form of coercion or any kind of pressure from anyone. Okay, if that is the case, then they are not eligible. They would not be considered for assisted dying, right? Okay, with respect to terminal illnesses, they have also given the definition. The definition is that a person who has an illness which is irreversible, that is, you cannot reverse the conditions back to normal human functions again. Okay, so this is a disease, this is an illness that is irreversible. Okay, second, the life expectancy should be less than 6 months. Okay, so the person who is opting for assisted dying, they should, by the medical practitioners, it should be established that they have less than 6 months to live. Okay, and the third thing is their condition is worsening. Okay, so this means that if their conditions are getting better, their bodily functions are getting better, and even if they have irreversible disease and life expectancy of less than 6 months, even then they would not be eligible to apply for the choice of assisted dying, right? So these are the eligibility criteria. Okay, the bill has also gone forward and stated what is the procedure that they are going to take in case of such kind of requests. Okay, so the first is there is initial request and assessment process. Okay, initial request and assessment process. So what does it include? It includes first declaration. By whom? By the patient. Okay, so the patient will sign the document. He will say that I am opting for the choice of assisted dying. Okay, and this has to be done in the witness, with a witness plus a coordinating doctor. Okay, so these two people are to be present when the patient is signing the first declaration of opting for the choice of assisted dying, right? Once this is done, there would be 7 days reflection period. Okay, after which what will happen? There will be an independent doctor. This will not be the same doctor who is the coordinating doctor. There will be an independent doctor who will again review this application. Okay, what does the coordinating doctor do? The coordinating doctor will establish what? He will establish the eligibility criteria, whether the person is eligible or not, and second, voluntariness. Okay, whether he has been doing it out of his own accord, okay, or whether he is being coerced or being under pressure. Okay, this is what the coordinating doctor does. Independent doctor will again verify these kind of documents itself. Okay, if there is no dispute, between the doctor, coordinating doctor and the independent doctor, then it will move to judicial review. Okay, if there is some kind of conflict, okay, then it would be referred to another independent doctor who will settle the dispute. Okay, with respect to judicial review, this will now move to High Court. Okay, the High Court will again go for verification, and in this kind of a process, he can again call the doctors and cross question them. Okay, he can also call the patient and question him or her, right? So there is High Court, there is verification. If High Court rejects the bill, then it can be appealed in the Court of Appeal. Okay, now after this process, what will happen? It will move on to this final confirmation and administration. Okay, so in this process, final administration, so here the second declaration form will be signed by the patient. Okay, now this would be under the coordinating doctor plus independent doctor and a third person. Okay, this is to ascertain that the person has not changed his mind during this whole period, right? So this is just to ascertain that, okay, are you sure that you are going to opt for this choice or not? Okay, after this process is done and the person signs the declaration again, then the medical practitioner or the coordinating doctor, they will provide the person with a designated lethal drug. Now this lethal drug will not be administered by the doctor. This lethal drug has to be self-administered by the patient. Okay, so this is the whole procedure in which assisted dying has to take place. Okay, it has so many levels because we want to introduce various kind of safeguards, right? Now let us also have a look at the comparison of this kind of a law with the law in India. Okay, so in one of the cases in Supreme Court, that was known as the Common Cause versus Union of India, the Supreme Court acknowledged that right to life implies that there is right to die with dignity also. Okay, so the people who are in vegetative state of mind, okay, so the people who are, you know, in vegetative state, that is, they are not able to do anything, they are not able to perform any life functions, or maybe you could say then there should be a provision that they should be alleviated of this kind of a suffering, okay, that might lead to their prolonged death, right? Prolonged suffering should be eliminated at the earliest, right? And therefore the Supreme Court came out with some kind of guidelines for passive euthanasia. Now passive euthanasia is something that is different. It is not equal to assisted dying. Okay, why? Because in passive euthanasia, what happens is a person who is already in vegetative state of mind, okay, he is just breathing, he is just performing no life functions, but he is there alive just for the sake of medical terminology, right? So this person, if we remove the life support, then this person will die. Okay, so in this we are not administering any kind of lethal drug. Rather, what we are doing is we are removing the life support on which his life functions are depending upon. Okay, because we know it will just prolong his suffering and we want to end that kind of a suffering, because there is right to life and there is right to die with dignity also embedded within it, right? So this is the difference. While in assisted dying, we are administering lethal drugs. Okay, so this is a very big difference between different forms of state administered euthanasia or assisted dying or assisted suicide, right? So this was about the assisted dying bill of United Kingdom. US court holds Israeli company NSO liable for targeting WhatsApp users. Okay, so in a chain of events, what has happened is there is an NSO group. This is an Israeli company. Okay, now what this company has done, it has a software by the name of Pegasus. Okay, and this is a spyware. Now what they have done, they have utilized this spyware and installed into the servers of WhatsApp, and thereby leading to privacy concerns. Why? Because through this mechanism, they are able to access data of various end users' devices, right? So this is a very important cyber security concern. And in this context, the US court has said that NSO is liable for targeting the WhatsApp users. Okay, so let us look into this issue. So let us try to understand the background of the case. First of all, the case was registered by Meta for their WhatsApp, and it was done for 2019. Okay, for the violation of terms of service of WhatsApp. Okay, so it was due to these kind of events that the case was filed by WhatsApp against NSO. Okay, and the decision by the court, the US court, has held that they are liable. Okay, they are liable for the damages that have been borne by the WhatsApp users whose profiles have been hacked. Okay, so it has been observed that close to 1400 individuals have been affected due to this kind of a breach, right? So the damages that are to be decided by the court are yet to be determined. Okay, so the damages will be determined by the court in the future trial. Now let us understand what is the Pegasus spyware. We understand what is spyware. Spyware is a malicious, okay, something that intends to harm the end user devices. Okay, it is a malicious software that is used to spy. Okay, that is used to collect, observe all kinds of information that the user inputs or interacts. Okay, it is basically someone who is spying over whatever you are sending or receiving over the internet. Okay, so this will enable it. So these are famous for their zero-click attacks. Okay, the attacks can be in multiple forms. They could be either through a link. Suppose you click on a link and then this spyware will be downloaded into your phone. Okay, or also they could be downloaded if you had a missed video call. Okay, your user interaction is not required. Even then, this kind of a spyware can be downloaded into your phone and you would not have much information about it. You wouldn't notice any difference. Okay, but the spyware is slowly doing its job. Okay, it will be harnessing all the kind of capabilities it has. So that is the reason it is called zero click. That is, user interference is not even required. Okay, it will do the job on its own. Right? So what Pegasus spyware can do? It can be installed through links, on SMS, on WhatsApp through video calls, iMessage, unknown vulnerability, all kinds of things can be a medium through which the Pegasus spyware can be installed on your phone. Okay, and what can it harvest? Okay, so what can it harvest? First of all, it will access all kinds of information. Okay, information may be related to SMS. It will read your messages. Okay, it can derive important information. Okay, at what time are you going to a particular place? And if such kind of information of a highly influential position person is being hacked, then there is a threat to life and national security as well. Okay, they can read the emails, they can look at the photos and videos. Okay, they can also record calls to derive information. Okay, so this poses a very big threat to cyber security as well as national security. Okay, both are at threat because of this kind of a thing. Then it can also enable surveillance, that is live surveillance. That is, it can switch on your camera and also can switch on your microphone to record everything that is going on around you. Activates microphone and activates camera. Okay, it can also collect the GPS data to know what kind of movements you have had in a particular day, right? Compatibility, which kind of mobile operating systems are compatible for this spyware? It is Android, Symbian, BlackBerry. Okay, these kind of operating systems are compatible with the Pegasus spyware. Stealth, they have a self-destruct feature. Okay, so this means that you wouldn't even know that in your phone that there was Pegasus spyware that was installed. Okay, they will destroy themselves and you will not have any idea of such kind of invasion of your privacy. Okay, then they are also hard to detect. Why? Because they use minimal resources. Okay, so this is about the Pegasus spyware. Now what are the key highlights of this judgment? First of all, the court has stated that there is a violation of cyber security laws by the Israeli group NSO. Okay, so it has violated a federal law. Okay, that goes by the name Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. Not only this, it has also violated a state law, that is California's law on data access. Okay, according to the federal law, it is punishable when you go for unauthorized access of the device. Okay, it should always be authorized. It should always be with the consent of the user that you are going to access the device. Okay, otherwise you're not allowed to. Otherwise it would be punishable, right? The court has also observed that there is breach of terms of service. Okay, because it has said that what has happened is that NSO observed a bug in WhatsApp codes. Okay, how did they get to the codes? They went for reverse engineering and decompiling of source code. Okay, the combination of two of these processes helped them identify the bug wherein they put in the Pegasus software code, and this led to installation without even the consent of the user themselves, right? So the court said that to even get to the code access, they would have gone through some terms of service by WhatsApp themselves. And doing such kind of a process and utilizing this loophole to install such kind of spyware in the end user devices is something that is a breach of terms of service. Okay, so it will further solidify the allegations against them. Okay, so these are the key highlights, but there is significance of this ruling. Okay, what is the significance? This is the first time any country has gone forward and made NSO liable for targeting the WhatsApp users in such a way. Okay, they have felt threatened and therefore they have set a precedent. A precedent has been set which says that the companies which are especially the espionage companies, they are also liable and they cannot claim immunity on the pretext that, okay, this was something that was the job of the WhatsApp group itself. Okay, this was something that was required to be serious on their own part. They will have to face the brunt of it. Okay, so this is the significance of the ruling. Why I am saying this is a significance? Because if you come to India in 2021, what has been Indian experience been like? Okay, so in 2021 we were also, there were allegations that there was Pegasus spyware used, and this was by the same NSO group. Okay, and what had happened was there were close to 300 individuals. Okay, and they were high dignitaries. Okay, there were opposition members, there were union ministers, there were civil society members who were the victims of this privacy invasion. Right? So in 2021 this had happened, but Pegasus had said, okay, we are the group. NSO had said that Pegasus is something that we sell only to the governments. We do not sell it to the individual companies. Okay, so this implied that the central government may have collaborated and gone forward with this kind of a Pegasus spyware, maybe for some political reason. Okay, but Indian government denied. Okay, even the IT minister then, he called these allegations as baseless. Okay, and he said that Indian surveillance laws are strong enough to protect against such kind of invasion of privacy. Okay, but there was a huge public outcry which led to a case in Supreme Court, and Supreme Court appointed a technical executive committee. Now this technical executive committee came out with this report in 2022, and it said that there has been no evidence of such kind of breach. Okay, however, the report is still undisclosed. Okay, it is not released, it is not up for public view as well, right? Also, it was felt that the central government was a bit reluctant to cooperate. Okay, so with the findings of such kind of report. Okay, so this creates a comparison where the cybersecurity of a nation is affected, where the invasion of privacy of the users of a nation are affected, and what does the central government or the judiciary do about it. Okay, in US case, we found that it was the first US court that held NSO liable for targeting the WhatsApp users. But that was not something that was observed in the Indian experience. Okay, maybe we do not know whether the charges were right or wrong. Okay, but such kind of safeguards were not further added also. Okay, NSO was not called out, right? So this is why it was quite significant. Impeachment of South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol. Now, in a dramatic turn of events, what has happened is there has been a crisis of leadership in South Korea. Okay, it is one of the major constitutional crises as well, because this time there is impeachment of the president himself. Okay, and it is being said that there is a huge chaos as far as democracy of South Korea has been concerned. Okay, the reason for that is that the president had gone forward for an emergency martial law in December 3rd of 2024. Okay, and this had been born out of the protests, the large-scale protests that had been taking place. Okay, the reason that the president had stated was that there were opposition members who were not letting him work properly, and therefore he had imposed an emergency martial law. Okay, but the public protested. The citizens of South Korea, they protested, and this was called up within 6 hours. Okay, but the ability of the president to even go forward with declaring an emergency martial law was something that was not acceptable by the South Korean citizens. Okay, because this was the first time in 45 years that a military rule had been set up. Okay, so let us delve into this issue and understand it further. So to understand what had happened, let us go into the background of the incident also. Okay, so political unrest and public dissatisfaction had emerged. Okay, this was in the month of late November and in early December. Okay, there were already these kind of oppositions. There were opposition also, there were genuine concerns also. It was because of the controversial governance style of the president during his tenure. Okay, there were some decisions that he made that did not resonate with the citizens of South Korea. Okay, let us understand that one by one. So first is, there were allegations against him. Okay, there were allegations of violation of constitutional rights, okay, then failure to uphold democratic values, and being authoritarian. Okay, these were some of the allegations that were set against the president, and this was something that was raising the public dissatisfaction with the leadership. Okay, add to that, there was some foreign policy measures that he had taken which did not sit well with the South Korean citizens and some members of his own party as well. Okay, let us see. For example, he tried to mediate with Japan. Okay, now Japan and South Korea are countries which do not have good relations. They did not have good relations in the past. Why? Because Japan and South Korea have an imperial past. Japan had colonized the Korean peninsula, and they had committed excesses with respect to the forced labors of this peninsula. Okay, that is why the Korean citizens are never happy with any kind of interactions with Japan. Okay, but with respect to Yoon, with respect to the President Yoon, it seemed as if he was going forward with a Japan-centered foreign policy. Okay, this was visible by his various stances. Okay, he made an effort to go forward with US also, and with respect to Japan, trying to go for a military partnership between the three nations. Okay, this is a significant amount of strategic depth that we are looking for in the relations between Japan and South Korea. Okay, so this is something that was not very acceptable. Okay, so the second thing was that opposed North Korea, and North Korea was in the Russian-Ukraine conflict. North Korea was supplying weapons to Russia, and therefore what did South Korea try to do? South Korea, under the leadership of Yoon, they decided to support Ukraine, even when it meant that we would be going to send weapons also. Okay, so this is something that was not acceptable, okay, to the citizens also. And also because these kind of foreign policies decisions that he was making, it was seemingly as if that he was pro-US. He had always been pro-US, but it was feeling as if the leader had gone for a what is called as a diplomatic surrender. Okay, that he is not looking after the citizens, he is not looking after the welfare of the nation, he is not looking after the national security, he is not looking at the historical strained past, he is not looking at the friends he had made. Okay, so in this effect, he is not only facing backlash domestically but internationally also. Right, from nations like North Korea, Russia and China, right? Then there was unpopularity on his part. For example, there were corruption, allegations of corruption against his wife. Okay, allegations of corruption. There was gross mismanagement of economic affairs as well. Okay, economic mismanagement and considerable amount of political instability. Okay, because his own leaders, his own party members were not willing to support him. Even when he took the decision of going forward with the martial law, he was not supported by his various party members. Okay, and then he drilled the final nail in the coffin by declaring the emergency martial law on December 4, 2024. Okay, he went forward and said, okay, there has been a lot of opposition and there is no one who is going to let me work peacefully. So therefore, I am going for a military rule. Okay, I would be suppressing the civil liberties of the citizens and therefore I would be able to work. Okay, this did not last very long. This was just for 6 hours. Okay, and then there was huge public outburst. Okay, there was huge amount of protests. People had come down to the roads and this was to be revoked in the National Assembly. Okay, even when he had called it back and he had said that, okay, I won't be doing this again. So I had committed a mistake, I wouldn't be doing it again. And he was justifying his position that because I wanted to work for the rule of law, I wanted to work for the citizens, I had gone forward for this kind of a thing. But the National Assembly voted to impeach him. Okay, they went for the motion of impeachment. In the first try, they did not achieve the required majority, but in the second try, they did achieve so. Okay, so let us look now at the procedure. So what is the impeachment process? So it is, the first stage is the filing of motion. The filing of motion in President Yoon's case was by the opposition members. Okay, they filed the motion of impeachment. Then there would be National Assembly vote, and if it votes by 2/3 majority, then it is accepted. Okay, after which it will go for a constitutional court review, which will verify if the constitutional threshold is being met. Constitutional threshold. Okay, so they will verify if the constitutional threshold is being met and then assess if the person who is going to be impeached stands impeached or not. Okay, after this review, there would be impeachment. Right? Also, just to tell you this fact that he is not the first president to be impeached. Okay, he is the third president. Okay, before him in 2017 also, there was the president by the name Park Geun-hye. He was also impeached by this process, right? So this is the impeachment process of South Korean president. Now, what is the significance of this impeachment? Okay, is there any significance? First, there is significance of the democratic norms. Okay, the impeachment shows even the top leadership has to follow the rule of law. Okay, he cannot turn into a despot. He cannot turn the regime into an authoritarian one. Okay, otherwise, if the civil liberties of the people are suppressed, they will go on to protest, and this can lead to ousting from the leadership of the president himself. Okay, the other significance, which is quite going to be beneficial in the long run, would be that there is going to be some kind of political realignment, because in his party there were already some members who were not supportive of his own decisions. Okay, there were decisions made by the president that was not supported by his own party members, right? So they might be realigning with the right party which matches their ideological aspirations. Right? The third thing is public accountability. Okay, that ultimately the leadership had to realize that it is accountable to the public, and now he is also being subjected to criminal investigation. Okay, that he has to give reasons of this kind of an act, even if it was for 6 hours long, even when he had apologized, even when he had said that I would not be doing it again. He still has to be accountable and state the reasons why he did it in the first place. It means that the citizens are aware of their rights, they are aware of their civil liberties, and they are not going to let any government or any leadership take that away from them. Okay, so this is a win for a democracy. Right? So that is why it is quite significant. Joe Biden pardons his son Hunter in 2 cases. Okay, so the outgoing president Joe Biden of United States has pardoned his son, and he has also gone forward and preemptively pardoned some of his own allies as well. Okay, so while he's going to be within his right to do so, but it is something that has erupted into controversial positions. Okay, this means that the outgoing president is utilizing his constitutional right to save some of his own family and his friends. Right? So let us delve into this issue and understand what it is about. So what is the event that has happened? First of all, he has gone forward with full and unconditional pardon for his son Hunter, who was convicted, okay, in 2 cases. One for tax evasion and the other for lying about drug use when purchasing a firearm. Okay, so these both are offenses, and these were the offenses that was committed by his son, for which that president has gone for full and unconditional pardon. Okay, he has also been considering preemptive pardons for allies. Okay, preemptive pardons for allies. This means that several of his friends, like Vice President Kamala Harris, former Chief Medical Officer Anthony Fauci, and others, these people have also been are going to be granted the preemptive pardon. Okay, this means that are protected if any kind of their cases are taken up, okay, in the future. Okay, for any kind of acts if they have committed, and in the future the incoming president wants to go up and take cases against them, then he may not be able to do so, because there is preemptive pardoning given by the president who is outgoing, that is Joe Biden. Okay, So what is the reason that he has given for this kind of a pardoning? He has said that when Donald Trump, the new elected president, Donald Trump, when he comes into power, there would be baseless and politically motivated investigations against his own people. Okay, so he wants to protect them. Okay, because it is just going to be out of the political revenge that Donald Trump may want to have. Okay, and that is why it would be something that is baseless. Okay, that is why he has given such kind of a pardoning to his friends and families. Okay, so now let us also understand what is the US president's power to pardon. Okay, first of all, it is a constitutional right because it is written in the constitution itself. It is under Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1. Right, which says that the president has the right to pardon someone, okay, except not for state laws. Okay, and it says that it is only for federal offenses. It also draws a limitation. It says that it is not to be exercised when there is impeachment. Okay, so these are the two conditions in which the pardoning process is not a constitutional right of the president. Okay, it is only in case of federal offenses and when the impeachment is not taking place. Right, so this is the constitutional right. Supreme Court ruling in this regard of pardoning power of president. What does it say? It says that it is something that is granted without limit, without any limit. What does this mean? It means that you cannot question the president's decision to pardon someone. Okay, you cannot question. Secondly, the president by himself does not need to give any kind of reasons of why he went forward to pardon some people and he left out some other people. Right? So these are granted without limit, which means that he has full discretion. There is full discretion at his hands for this kind of a decision making. Okay. Now there is also one office, that is Office of Pardon Attorney. What is its job? What it will do? It will consider all the application for petitions. Okay, it will conduct the background review. Okay, it will run some background checks with the FBI also. Okay, all kind of initial reviews will be done by it. Okay, so it will provide some kind of recommendations. Okay, recommendations are given by the Office of Pardon Attorney to the President. Okay, does the President need to follow it? No. President is the final authority to take a call on these kind of recommendations. Okay, he has his sole discretion whether he wants to take advice of these recommendations or whether he does not want to. It is up to the President. Right? So he is the final authority and he cannot be questioned, and he does not even have to state the reasons why he is pardoning any kind of people. Why is he leaving out other kind of people? Now continuing with the President's power to pardon, when can it be done? It can be done at any stage. Okay, but for pardoning power to be executed, it is important that a crime is committed. Okay, it cannot be as such that no crime is committed and he is going forward with his pardoning power. That is baseless. Okay, so for logical aspect, the crime has to be committed so that his pardoning power can be exercised. Okay, when can it be exercised? It can be exercised before the legal proceedings, during the legal proceedings, after the legal proceedings, or even after conviction. Okay, so this does not place any kind of timing limitations on the President. Right? What are the limitations? As we had studied, limitations are with respect to that he can operate with this power only in case of federal offenses and not in the cases of impeachment. Right? What are implied limitations? That he will have to go for only those kind of pardoning processes in which a crime is being committed. Crime has been committed. Okay? And one more implied limitation is that that he cannot go for preemptive pardoning in certain cases, that is for any kind of future criminal acts. If there are future criminal acts that are being committed, he cannot say, okay, I know that individual might go forward and commit some kind of criminal act, so I am providing him or her with a preemptive pardon. This is not something that is allowed. Okay, this is not allowed. Right? Now, what is the impact and interpretation? If the president is pardoning someone, then what is the interpretation? Does it mean that the person was guilty? Okay, does it mean that the conviction is erased? There is, first of all, no erasure of record. No erasure of record meaning it is not as if the criminal record or the record of crimes that a person has committed, it is wiped off clean. Okay, the conviction will still be there, the crime committed by the person will still be there, but it is just that the president has pardoned him. Okay, there will be no erasure of record. Secondly, it is not a proof of any kind of innocence. Okay, so if President Joe Biden was pardoning his son Hunter, it does not mean that Hunter is innocent. Okay, it is not that the president is saying that Hunter is innocent. Okay, it is just that he is pardoning him. Thirdly, it is also not admission of guilt. Okay, so for example, if the trials are going on and he has been pardoned by the president, then it is not something that has been admitted by the person that he is guilty of that kind of a crime. Okay, so these interpretations must be very clear, that the pardoning process does not mean that there would be complete wiping of the conviction record, criminal record of the person. He will not be deemed to be innocent. Okay, it is not that he has been said to be innocent in that particular case, and then it is also not as if he has admitted to his guilt. Okay, it is not that you were the person who committed this crime, and because of this commission of crime, I am going to pardon you. Right? So this is about the US President power to pardon. Nepal-China signed 9-point agreement. Okay. So the leadership of Nepal, it recently visited for 4 days to China. Okay. The Nepalese Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli, he visited China. Okay. It is known to us that KP Sharma Oli does not have an inclination towards Indian interests. Okay, he is more inclined towards the Chinese counterparts. Okay, so for this reason, it is also a bit of concern for us, because it is one of the neighborhood nations that we have. Okay, and because we want to practice the neighborhood first policy, we want to keep prioritizing our interest in them, so that we have a considerable peace in the region and also a booming cooperation between the nations as well. Right? So this kind of a handshake by the Nepalese Prime Minister with the Chinese President, it is something that has been concerning for the Indian grounds. So let us look at the key agreements that were signed within this visit. Okay, so the first was construction of tunnel road. This was between Tokha and Chahari. Okay, so this is going to provide for the market for the local producers. Okay, so it is going to reduce the distance or the time to travel. Right? So this is going to be construction, there is going to be construction of tunnel road, and it would be done with the assistance of China. Okay, then there is trade promotion and protocol, especially with respect to thermally processed buffalo meat. Okay, these are some agreements that have been signed. You can write any one of them as an example for your answer for the cooperation between Nepal and China. Renovation of palace. This is our soft power diplomacy. Palace, Basantapur Palace. It is a 9-story palace. Okay, then there is cooperation in technology with respect to communication technology, and also there have been learning centers that are going to be established for Chinese language education. Okay, there is expectation of considerable economic and technical assistance from China as well towards Nepal. Okay, so these are some of the key agreements, but the most important agreement is this. It is Nepal and China which have gone forward for the Belt Road Initiative Cooperation Framework Agreement. Belt Road Initiative Cooperation Framework Agreement. Okay, but BRI agreement was already signed in 2017 between Nepal and China. Okay, if you remember correctly, in previous recitals we have gone through the Nepal political crisis again and again. Okay, we know that it was in 2015 that it went for making its constitution. Okay, finally drafting its constitution, and it has gone for multiple political instability moments. Okay, multiple flow test, changing of prime ministers. Okay, some prime ministers which are more inclined toward India, some prime ministers who are more inclined towards China. Okay, present prime minister is more inclined towards China. That is Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli. He is more inclined towards China. Okay, this was signed in 2017 itself, but no action had been taken place. Right? Now they went forward with a cooperation framework agreement. Okay, they want to enhance economic cooperation. Okay, and they also want to build in infrastructure to improve connectivity. Okay, however, this framework agreement, although it has taken place, we have the knowledge of it, but it is not out with the details disclosed. There are no details that have been disclosed yet. Okay, how is it going to be taken forward? Okay, again there is agreement shift, that Nepal has gone forward and said that we want no loan pact. Okay, no loan pact, meaning you give us grants, and grants are something that are aligned with something else, with some kind of objective. Okay, grants are some kind of a nudge. I give you a grant and I tell you that I want something of some objective to be achieved. Okay, it is some influence, some kind of power that I have above you. Okay, so the Nepal and the Nepalese Prime Minister has said that these kind of grants should be replaced by aids and investment by China. Okay, that China should have a role to play in the economic development and the social development of Nepal as well. Okay, it should not be just the giving of grants and expecting an objective to be achieved because of the influence created by the debt trap. Okay, so this is what the agreement has shifted, and this is what is agreed by China also. Okay, this will be carried out with us. So Trans-Himalayan Multidimensional Connectivity Network, this is also something which has been a prominent feature in the BRI, Belt and Road Initiative. Okay, this is also planned to be taken forward with respect to China and Nepal. So now what are the concerns for India in such kind of a case? Okay, at one side you have your rival, that is China, and on the other side you have your own neighborhood country, that is Nepal. Okay, so first of all, there are security threats because we share a long border. It is close to 1700 kilometers. Because we share such kind of a border with Nepal, any kind of infrastructural development, any kind of having Chinese troops within our close vicinity, this is going to create a problem as far as security of the nation is concerned. Okay, we have seen that in Doklam standoff also in 2017. Okay, we fear that Nepal, which is like a buffer state for us, between us and China. Okay, there is Nepal that is like acting like a buffer state. But if China enters that country as well, then there is no buffer state, there is no kind of protection against any kind of Chinese invasion for us. Okay, that is why it creates some amount of security threat. The second is regional influence. Okay, China is also going and exercising soft power diplomacy. Okay, it is also going into the culture. How? By having various kind of Chinese language education schools in Nepal. Okay. Secondly, it is also going forward with connectivity. So India feels threatened that some kind of regional influence is being diverted towards China and Nepal is more favorable towards China in such kind of a situation. Okay. Even with respect to regional influence, you can talk about Maldives. Okay, Maldives soon realized that without India, it is not possible for them to thrive. Similar was the case with Sri Lanka. Okay, and it is said that Bangladesh will also learn its lesson soon, right? So, with respect to Nepal, we can understand that because of this difference in size of the nations. For example, in South Asia, India is the biggest nation. Okay, so at the same time, these smaller nations will feel threatened. They will also feel that they are getting influenced because of the size of the country, and they would want to assert their own sovereignty and decision making. Okay, so in this kind of a case, they go for balancing. And this balancing is very well understood by India also. What is this kind of a balancing? It will play China card. It will say that I am going to side with China, I am going to give some of my ports to China, I am going to let China come and invest in my territory. Okay, I will allow the BRI, Belt and Road Initiative connectivity, even if it is at the cost of your sovereignty. Okay, this is where the India will also be concerned. That is why they will go for such kind of diplomacy, diplomatic balancing. Okay, trade relations, for Nepal, India is the largest trading partner. Okay, and such kind of economic cooperation may be diverting it, and India may cease to become the largest trading partner. It might provide for a way out to Nepal also, and also about its trade dependency will be reduced. Okay, so your influence over the nation will be less. Okay, your diplomatic leverage over the nation would be less, right? So these are the concerns that India has because of this 9-point agreement between Nepal and China. Freight train likely to link Pakistan and Russia. Okay, now we have a different case. In the earlier case, we had China, which was a rival of India, and it was collaborating with Nepal, which was a nation that we considered to be our friend. Okay, now we have a rival neighborhood nation, that is Pakistan, and a friend, Russia. They are collaborating. Okay, so this also raises some kind of concerns for us. Okay, although the move might be very small or it might be moderate, however, this still raises concerns that one is extending a hand of friendship towards the other. Okay, so let us understand this issue. So the key highlights, It is just for the knowledge, okay, and it is just for quoting in your mains answers that you should know about this issue. Okay, so the freight train link, this is going to be under trial. Okay, it is going to be done in March 2025. Okay, and it is going to pass through Iran and Azerbaijan. Okay, so the transport of cargo, transport of goods, this will enhance the trade connectivity between the two nations. Okay, so 8 MOUs were signed in the 9th Intergovernmental Commission between the two nations and various sectors. The memorandum of understanding was signed in various sectors like health, industry, cooperation, education, and so on. Okay, so these were the MOUs signed. And it was also observed that Pakistan wants to join. Okay, it expressed that it wants to join the INSTC, that is International North-South Transport Corridor. This is the INSTC. Okay, starts from St. Petersburg here, passes through the nations, Iran, and ultimately goes to India. Okay, this is the INSTC. And Pakistan has said that this 7,200 kilometer transport corridor, I also want to be a part of it. Okay, so this means that it is willing to collaborate, but not at the cost of directly communicating with India. Okay, it is going through the Russian route. The fourth thing is, we talk about the bilateral trade between Russia and Pakistan. So it amounts to $1 billion. Okay, and there is considerable trade imbalance. If you want to guess, I am sure you will get the right thing, that the trade imbalance is in favor of Pakistan, which means that Pakistan is exporting less and importing more from Russia, right? So that is why Pakistan has gone forward in these agreements and said that it would be also going forward with agricultural exports, so that its trade imbalance can be served. Okay, and it has also invited Russia to explore its oil and gas fields. Okay, start some kind of refining process and also provide some kind of revenue to the Pakistan, and also this kind of trade imbalance can be restored. Okay, so this is the highlight, and Indian concerns will also be much more visible as we move forward with such kind of visits, right? Australia's Online Safety Amendment Bill. So recently Australia has gone forward for the amendment of Age Discrimination Act of 2024 and has also set a minimum age for the usage of social media. Okay, so this is the first kind of its legislation which has said that below a certain age there is no access to social media that is to be allowed. Okay, so this is the first legislation of its kind, and it is being globally observed. So let us see what it is about. So with respect to the Online Safety Amendment Social Media Minimum Age Bill of 2024, it says that the social media platform should take reasonable steps to ensure that no person under the age of 16 years is accessing their platform. Okay, so they must take the reasonable steps. Okay, so the platforms, for example, platforms like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and so on. What they are going to do, they are going to ensure compliance. Okay, they have to ensure compliance with verification. Okay, they have to verify whether the users who are utilizing their platforms, they are above the age of 16 years or not. And if they are found to be less than 16 years of age, then the accounts should be banned. The account should be banned for less than 16 years of age. Okay, so it is saying that there should be no social media access to the people who are in the category of less than 16 years of age. Okay, and if suppose the platforms do not comply, they have to pay a heavy fine. Okay, they will have to pay a fine to the government. Okay, so this is what is included in the bill. Now, who is going to decide what are the reasonable steps? It is the e-safety commissioner. Okay, e-safety commissioner will go forward by stating the guidelines for reasonable steps. What are considered to be reasonable? Right? So this is about the bill that Australia has tabled. Now, with respect to the global context, why it is being so much being observed so much? Because in Australia and in globe as well, it is the first time that access to social media platforms has been considered. Okay, and it has been put into the legislation, and it is because they want to protect their kids and future generations from the harm that is done by the social media platform, that they are taking this kind of a step. Okay, but when the US tried it, okay, US also had tried it to remove the access for a minimum age, they had met with opposition because it was said that it is in violation of constitutional right. Okay, even now in US you will find that in schools there are filters. Okay, there are some kind of controls. There is some act which says that it will filter out the content that are more likely better for the kids. Okay, it is not going to harm the kids in any way. However, there is no such provision which removes the access altogether. Right? So this is also something that has been unseen in US. With respect to India, we do have child protection laws and cyber security laws in place. IT Act is there. Okay, these kind of important things are there. But these social media platforms have to go for the due diligence themselves. Okay, but there is no removal of any kind of social media access. Neither is there any legislation that is in foresight, that is, it is going to come forward in the future. Okay, so that is the reason that this step by Australia is considered to be something of value. China to build world's largest hydropower dam in Tibet. Now, why this is a concern for us? It is a concern because this world's largest hydropower dam is going to be built somewhere here. Okay. Now, this is where you realize that this is China. This is the Tibet region. Okay. And this is where it enters India. This is India. Okay, this is the position where it enters India, right? Now, if you consider that if you are building a dam over there, that means you are controlling the flow of water. Okay, this is being constructed in Yarlung Sangpo River at the lower reaches, right where it takes a turn in the Medog County of China. Okay, this reason. Okay, and thereby it raises a lot of concerns for India. Why? Because there is the control of flow of water. And considering that the infrastructure is going to be so huge that it is going to be the world's largest dam. Okay, it is expected that it will generate close to 300 billion kilowatt hour of electricity annually. Okay, so this is going to be a great concern for India. Let us see how. Now, first of all, China's Brahmaputra Dam project. It is the dam project that we are talking about. Now, before that, we should also know about the Three Gorges Dam. This is the presently largest hydropower dam in the country itself, okay, and in the whole world also, okay. But this dam is going to replace this Three Gorges Dam as the largest hydropower producer, okay. So Medog County, this is in Tibet. This is a place where the water falls from about 2000 meters, okay, and therefore it creates a huge amount of hydropower potential, okay, and this hydropower potential can be harnessed, okay, and that is the reason that they are going forward with this Brahmaputra Dam project, okay. You can read here the Medog project. It is proposed Chinese dam could generate up to 60 gigawatts of electricity, that is nearly triple the amount of Three Gorges Dam in the central part of China, okay. Then it is also aligned with China's renewable energy initiatives, okay. It is also one of the reasons that China is going ahead with such kind of a project. First reason was there is huge amount of hydroelectric potential. The second reason is that they want to become carbon neutral by 2060. Secondly, they also want to sustainably develop, okay. That is why they are going for such kind of enhancement in the Tibet region, okay. This has been said to provide a revenue of about $3 billion annually to Tibetan region, right? What is the planning? As per the planning, it is going to cost about $137 million, and it has been included in the 14th five-year plan of China, okay. So they have planned it out like this. And scale and significance. What is the scale and significance of this? The first is that this is going to be 3 times. It is going to generate 60 gigawatts. 60 gigawatts of electricity, okay. And it is going to be considerably huge and difficult to construct as well, okay. So this is about the China Brahmaputra Dam project. Now, what are the concerns for India with respect to this? How is India concerned? Okay, the first is with respect to agriculture, okay. Because there is a construction of dam, there would be deposition of silt, okay. Silt would be something that would provide fertility to the soil in the lower reaches, in the downstream part of the river, okay. So the soil in the downstream part in India is devoid of nutrients essential for the conducting of agriculture, right? So silt devoid. This is going to affect the agriculture in the northeastern part of India, right? Second thing is water resources, okay. It would be up to China whether they want to put in more amount of water or whether they want to store more amount of water, okay. So as per the experts, there can be more amount of flow when rainy conditions prevail, and this can also lead to flooding in the downstream part, okay. It will lead to flooding in the areas like Assam. Then there might be dry seasons also, which will stop, the dam will stop any kind of water flow towards the downstream, okay. This will also result into low amount of water ability, low water availability, okay. This is also concerning for the population there. Then third is weaponization of water resources, okay. In the past also, in Doklam standoff 2017, they had not shared the hydrological data, okay. Hydrological data is must. If you do not have the hydrological data, you are fighting against the floods blindly, okay. You cannot forecast the floods in the region, okay. So this kind of a hydrological data, if it is not shared by with India, And it has happened in the past. It has happened during the Doklam standoff in 2017. So this is also a concerning thing for India, that they might be going forward and weaponizing this kind of water resources. The fourth thing is seismological threats. Okay, it is a fragile environment. Same goes with ecological impacts also. Okay, Himalayan ecosystem is a fragile environment. Okay, and constructing such large scale infrastructure, especially for hydropower, is something that is going to be creating a threat in the region. Okay, it will make the region more vulnerable. And ecological impacts because of the presence of endangered plants and species within the region. Okay, so we are further endangering their lives by construction of such kind of developmental projects. Okay, and that too at such a massive scale. So these are the concerns for India. What are the response? What is India's response to this? India has urged China that it should consider the downstream interests also. Okay, in its pursuit of creating such a huge amount of hydropower dam, it should not forget that the people in the downstream reaches are also depending on the water flow. Okay, and therefore it wants to urge China towards a cooperation. The second thing is counterbalance the potential impacts. Okay, suppose this is run of the river. This is the hydroelectric project of China. Takes a turn, comes into India. You construct a dam here. Okay, if India goes forward and constructs a dam here, and this is said by experts to be of capacity of 10 gigawatt and in Dibang Valley, then even India will have the control over the water that is being released. Okay, at least it can fight any kind of threat of flooding, right? So the control would not only just be in China's hand. This dam would be like a safeguard dam. Okay, also it could generate good amount of electricity for us, for the region, right? So this could also be a counterbalance of the potential impacts of construction of such kind of a hydroelectric project by China, right? New Suez Canal channel extension. Okay, so Egypt has been facing a lot of issues with respect to the Suez Canal. Okay, it was in 2021 that it faced a what you call as the traffic jam of ships. Okay, and since then it decided that it is going to widen the channel, okay, in the lower reaches of Suez Canal. Okay, so it went for a 10-kilometer channel extension. So it went forward with widening the channel from 72 kilometers to 82 kilometers. The total increase in length was 193 kilometers. Okay, so now the expansion has benefits. Okay, it means that 6 to 8 ships can pass through the canal very easily, right? These are some of the expansion benefits. That is, more number of ships means more amount of trade volume. More amount of trade volume means more amount of revenue for Egypt as well. Okay, so it had the right decision making when it went for such kind of expansion of channel, right? Now this was motivated by the 2021 crisis. Okay, it was because of the ship Ever Given that was stuck. This was the Suez Canal, and this is how it was stuck. Okay, and because of this, all the ships that were behind this, they were not able to pass through. Okay, and this was stuck for a period of 6 days. A lot of people who lived on the sides used to come and take goods from it, and they would take it as their own. Okay, so this was a problem that was created, and this created a huge problem of traffic. Okay, this meant that the world, it was a choke point, and therefore the world would go towards different kind of sea routes. Okay, they would go forward with Cape of Good Hope, okay, as an alternative trade route for that time. Okay, but Egypt will definitely then not make any kind of revenue if that kind of an alternative is established, right? So it went for such kind of expansion. Now that the mechanical process and the infrastructure, the necessary infrastructure has been created, there is an expectation that if improvements have made any kind of positive impact or not. But it has been seen that there has been drop in canals revenue in 2024 by 60%. There is a drop, okay, and there are also losses to a significant amount, and the reason is Houthis. Okay, the Suez Canal, which connects Mediterranean Sea with Red Sea. The Houthis in Yemen are the ones who are driving the ships in the Red Sea away from them. Okay, it is because of the conflict in the Middle East, the Middle East tension, the Middle East crisis that is making Houthis. And we also have read about the axis of resistance, and Houthis are a part of it. They are going to fight against Israel and all kinds of vessels that are going to assist the Israeli government. Okay, in that case, they are also in some manner they are also harming the other ships also. Okay, which are not going to be going towards the country of Israel. Okay, so this has made Red Sea a hot spot, which means that it is not where the ships would usually try to go. Okay, they will try to change the route, and therefore it has still faced losses. This expansion has not converted itself into a profitable venture yet, right?